to the Between the Pages podcast. Today we're going to be talking about faith, work, and calling, and what our stories teach about vocation.
Yeah, that's a good topic. I'm Jimmy. This is Sarah. This is our podcast. Thanks to all y'all who tune in. Vocation. I mean, I know people who, they're still trying to figure out what they need to do. And they're in their 50s and 60s, yeah. Right? They just, they just never.
Well, they have that. Like, I think it's like the chicken guy. He didn't make KFC until
Kentucky
he was
Fried
like
Chicken,
retired
Colonel
or something.
Sanders.
Like, yeah, in his 60s.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
it's never too late.
Well, he had a recipe too that he liked and he enjoyed, and
Yeah.
people in his family liked. But he showed that recipe like 998 times.
Oh yeah.
Or something like that, 1,000 times before somebody said, "Oh, that's something
this
I
is
think
actually kind of nice.
This is good. I'll try it."
Yeah.
And next thing you know, fast food chain, right? So, but. Yeah, sometimes you find your calling late in life. I mean, sometimes you find, some people know from the time they're born. I mean, as soon as they can comprehend, they're going to play the piano or the violin or some, thing of that nature, or write. Some people they know what their purpose is.
Yeah.
But the thing is it's not so much, I mean, you could want to be, a casino operator or something. And there's nothing, I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong. We were just talking about kismet, entertainment, I think is a good thing. I think you need to entertain yourself, and so, but addiction, gambling addiction, not a good thing. So, the thing is if you're in that type of a business, well, I don't know if that's honoring God or,
Because even if you're like, well, I can handle it, you're setting other people up who might have a problem to have a problem, and you profit from it.
Yeah. Well, I know, little old ladies and stuff, they love their bingo, and I think that there's nothing wrong with bingo. I don't see any, I mean, if it's an entertainment thing, but if you're, in a thing where you can't miss bingo, or when you get there, you got to play 20 cards at a time. I don't know. It sounds like you're beyond entertainment.
I went to bingo one time with a lady from work. It is intense. I was like, oh yeah, this will just be some fun little thing we can chit chat. It's like a thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's beyond being entertaining, then perhaps maybe.
Well, and her and I were mainly just, and her daughter was there, and we were just all, but other people, they have like 20, 30 cards. They have like whole sections. Yeah. Like this is their night of the week.
Yeah, and it's every week,
like,
and it's like, I don't know, there seems like there's something a little miss with that. But whatever, I'm not here to judge any of that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, when you're picking a vocation, you want to do something that's, honorable. I mean, an honorable vocation, not one that causes harm or brings some kind of unpleasant circumstance or something of that nature to someone.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Drug dealers don't necessarily help people.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not a real vocation either. They're just like criminals.
Right. Well, they're criminals because our laws say it's against the law.
Yeah.
Okay. And usually the laws, they're founded in some reasonable thing because those type of things do cause harm to people. So if you're in that kind of a work line, you're probably not going to be as blessed as someone who's in something a little more honorable, like.
And in the books, we talk about like farmers, in what Molly overcame. She's
Right.
Little E's a farmer, and engineers. The Fig and Zig are they're little kids playing, but they touch on engineer
They're future
life.
engineers is what they are.
Yeah, future engineers. And JG's a missionary and a sheriff, and there's throughout the books, there's different vocations that are...
Right, so the thing, and like...
positive and
Rosie,
beneficial.
She has a fabric emporium that she weaves fabric and she sells fabric, and she has high quality fabric evidently because it's in great demand. I mean, they're loading it up by the truckload and carting it out of there. So, So I mean, that's the other thing, I mean, she enjoys that type of work. She enjoys, prospering in that way. So your career choice should be something that is meaningful.
Yeah.
It should provide and that's what I was working to get towards. Is your career choice should be something that's a benefit to your fellow people, family.
Yeah, every honest job can be done for God's glory.
Right. And so the thing is, sometimes you look at art and you go, well, I don't know, but humanity, it's a reflection of our striving for perfection or for a perfect, world. And so the thing is that's not going to happen until Jesus comes back. But in the meantime, you have to be able to express yourself, and there's this inside thing that needs to be expressed, and music and art and novels and writing and things of that nature are those types of things. But that's not to say that someone who is a carpenter or someone of that nature, the work they do isn't also artistic in nature. I mean, because there's a lot of intricate work that goes into edifices and framing and things associated with construction. And so, but the last the last thing that I would think would be something, and this is what we attempt to reflect in the stories that we have, is that your work should be fun.
Yeah.
It should be something that you enjoy doing. And if it's, if you're in a position where you have a job that's not necessarily meaningful or fun, or is not bringing, something good towards people, then, you may want to evaluate that situation. Since we have a Christian audience, I mean, hopefully we don't have Christians who work in abortion facilities, because that type of work is not honorable, I don't believe, and so I'm sure I'll get a lot of dislikes for that. But the thing is
if you make it this far,
yeah,
the ones making it this far in the video
are the ones that are kind of agreeing with what we're saying. So I guess the thing is like I say, if you're in those types of some type of job that's not one or more of those things, honorable and fun and meaningful, then perhaps maybe you might want to think about a career change, a different direction.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to be rash or brash, if you will, about it and just take off and quit your job and don't have anything else going. Take your time, consider thoughtful, carefully, what this means and how it's going to affect other people around you, family. If you have family, if you're single, then you have a lot more flexibility. You can basically go and do whatever you want to do, wherever you want to do it at, right? So, and think about that as an option. One of the things that we talk about is when we talk about JG and the selfless servant is that you gotta provide for yourself first of all, and then you gotta provide also for your family if you have a family, and then your future. Everybody should have a contingency fund, or an emergency fund is what I call it, that is set aside just in case. I think 6 months is a good thing, but if that's kind of a stretch for you, maybe 3 months or even just a month would be a good start. To have at least a month's salary in the bank, because you never know when circumstances are going to happen. But if you have an emergency fund, then that also offers you some flexibility in being able to change to a different career or change to a different job. You can dip into your emergency fund for different type of education or some I don't know. It depends on what you're interested in. Yeah. If you've been an accountant or doing bookkeeping and you want to improve yourself and become an accountant, or you decide I just want to transition into another field of work. I want to be a lawyer or a doctor or something, or plumber or carpenter or mechanic. I mean, you got to have some money set aside to be able to do that. So lots of things to consider about that type of thing. But then in addition to that, the work that you do, well, how does it bless other people? How does it help humanity, the ones who are less fortunate, who can't work or don't have the best education or whatever? How is what you're doing? How does it help them? And so you're not only wanting to build up, the ability to financially support yourself here on earth, but you want to build up, treasure in heaven. So, if you're in a career field that's not very honorable, well, then that's probably not going to bode well for you at the judgment.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so, talking about the diligence and integrity and service inside of the jobs that are in the book,
Right.
kind of integrates it into the kid's mind. Oh, hey, I can, get a job that serves God, not just, oh, I gotta grow up and get a job.
Right. Yeah. Right. And and that's the other thing. I mean, I was recently talking with my coworkers, and his daughter is about to graduate high school, and he's like, well, you need to go to college or you need to get a job, and she's like undecided. Well, I mean, being undecided is not necessarily the best course because no matter what you do or don't do, time passes.
Yeah.
The clock continues to tick. And eventually, you'll be faced with this decision. And if you're not prepared for that, then, it's not going to be pleasant for you. And so he's like, well, I guess I've already explained to her that she needs to, join the Air Force or some military branch of military, I forget exactly, or, pay rent.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you got to get those things in, already.
Yeah.
You can't just go, oh, I graduated, let me go sign up. Because a lot of those schools you could probably just end up going somewhere, but they have, to get into where, and everything, they pick all those places out, in December, November, and stuff.
And it's hard, like you say, to grasp the reality of what you're being told. Because
by the time graduation comes, it's too. I mean, even by March, it's the spots are already filled up or filling up, and so
my summer job between when I graduated high school and joined the Air Force, I worked for the city and building tennis courts, and we'd put down blacktop and put up 10-foot chain link fence. Well, I mean, you're out there in the summer Alabama heat, July, August is 100% humidity and seriously hot.
And doing roofs during.
Yeah, and so that was hard work.
It was hard. I did roofs in Pennsylvania, and it was hot, but it wasn't anything like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, so you kind of get in your mind, oh well, I don't think I want to do this for a living.
Yeah.
And, but some kids never have that experience. They stayed home. Mom and dad took care of them. They never had to work. You never had to, bag groceries or sweep floors or anything such as that. And so they think, oh, they'll graduate high school or whatever, and they'll just get a job paying $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And
you got to get a degree.
That's not going to happen, you know. And so that's why I think a lot of people gravitate towards industries that are not honorable. Yeah. Because there's, you can make money doing things that aren't honorable. And so, so that's just something to, you got to think about. You got to plan for your future. You got to,
And talk to your kids about their future.
And
before they're about to graduate high school.
Well, the books kind of get that kind of work ethic thing instilled in children before that. I mean, like with you guys, when you were growing up, we gave you all an allowance, but, we expect you to go around and gather up the trash cans and empty them.
Yeah.
As you got older and things, well, here, it's called a vacuum cleaner, vacuum the floors. And then as you got older, it was like, okay, wash the dishes and load up the dishwasher and do laundry. And we would have, during the summer, we would have Camp Jimmy, and so one of you guys would be selected and we'd teach them how to cook. Chop up get all your ingredients ready, stage all your stuff, here's your recipe. And we would step through it. And to get through graduation, you had to be able to, without any assistance, buy, prepare, cook, serve, and clean the meal for today, whatever it was you decided we were eating. And so, and then
I'm such a cheat.
Yeah, well,
remember I did a cookout.
Okay.
So I got to prepare everything and do it, and then I was like, I don't know how to use the grill, so you guys flip the stuff and cook and make sure it's cooked all the way through.
We take note of that, and but I'm just saying, I mean, somewhere along the way.
But I can cook, I can prepare food for my family and cook and go to the grocery store and make a meal.
Some parents would be like, well, you're so cruel to do that to your children. Well, they're on their own now. As far as I know, they do their own laundry, do their own cleaning, carry out the trash, cut their own grass, trim the bushes. They do all that stuff themselves and stuff. And that's in addition to their jobs.
I have a husband.
Yeah, well, you have a husband. They offload some of that, but he does.
I could do it. I just go, oh, hey, I'm going to do this. Oh, yeah, I got that. I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's good. You have a partnership. You get more done, two of you working together, than one of you working doing everything. So, but those kind of things are... a lot of kids mom and dad have done everything for them, and so... Or
the HOA. And so...
Or someone else.
They don't even see the parents mowing the grass.
Right.
They're like, there's grass that needs to be mowed.
Well, you're laying in bed, it's summer, you're sound asleep, and you hear the lawnmower going outside the window. And you look out there, and it's some lawn care guy doing the work. Because you're asleep. Yeah. Because mom and dad, I mean, that's...
But you just got to have a... better paying job.
Well, I mean,
you can have someone else mow your grass.
Usually people who wind up in affluent, they obviously are providing some type of service that is perceived to be of value.
Yeah.
Okay, and so, that's why they earn a higher salary, if you will. What they're doing. I mean,
Yeah. There's not a surgeon out there going, oh, yeah, let me go cut down trees and bushes on the weekend. They got to make sure their hands don't get damaged.
Yeah, I knew a doctor, and he would put on his coveralls and he'd go paint houses.
Oh
for people. And it's like, and you just never would know it.
Yeah.
He didn't show up on the work scene going, I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Don't
got my leather shoes on.
I don't do this. That activity. That's someone. No, whatever was needed to be done. That's what he did.
Yeah.
And and he would do that and. No one even knew, which is kind of, there's something to be said for that, because a lot of people, they're in it for the recognition.
Yeah.
They're not in it to, do whatever. So, So, lots of things to consider. The books hopefully instill in someone, the work ethic, that work is good, that work can be a good thing.
There's different things that you can do and serve God.
Well,
it's not just like, this is your one opportunity.
Well, you
gotta be a preacher.
Well, you got the instruction that tells you 6 days thou shalt work, right? It's like, okay, it's not like it's just if you could you manage to work one day this week? No, it's more like it's telling you this is what you need to do. And so you need to work. You want to be found working.
Yeah.
The parable of the 10 virgins, right? The 5 foolish ones and the 5 that weren't foolish. They had their lamps were full, their wicks were trimmed, they were awake, they were ready. The other 3, 4 or 5 were asleep. No oil, and then they ran out of oil and they wanted to borrow oil from the people who had it. And they're like, no, we can't. We only have enough for our lamps, and we're waiting for the bridegroom. And sure enough, they had to go off to get oil, and while they were out, unprepared, the bridegroom showed up, and the 5 wise ones were allowed in because they were working, they were ready. When the bridegroom showed up, and everybody ought to be able to relate to the bridegroom showing up because that's what we are working towards.
Yeah.
The second advent, right? And so, you want to be working, you want to be prepared, and you want to be doing something that's good. And
all the time we got for you today.
Yep.
Join us next time on the Between the Pages podcast. Like, subscribe, and follow for more.
Well, thank you very much.